you want to be successful. But first, you need to learn how to excel in life. There's a few core skills that most successful people have, and if you master them, you can conquer the world.
Hey everyone, my name is Hisham Khan and welcome to Income Over Outcome, your go-to source for all the college and career resources that you need. Now, most of my videos focus on getting good college majors and pointing out some high-paying careers for you all. And while all of that can give you a huge leg up early on in your career, there's so much beyond that that impacts your success. The truth is, your career isn't dictated by your education in the long term. What really matters are your skills. But the good thing is, you have complete control over growing and refining your skills over time. School is important to give you a solid foundation and help you grow as a person and give you technical skills that can help you get your foot in the door. But being book smart will only take you so far. To really excel in your career and earn a ton of money, you have to go beyond that. Being street smart and having soft skills can go a really long way. And over the years, I've learned that there's a few core skills that every single successful person I know has, and I'm going to share all of them with you today. If you master all the skills in this video, the world is your oyster, no matter what industry you work in or what you do. The first skills I want to highlight are analytical and critical thinking skills. Look at the job descriptions of any high-paying job, and I almost guarantee you that they'll say they need someone who can think critically to solve problems. That's because if you're earning a lot of money, it's probably your job to help make decisions. You're not going to be sitting around doing brainless work. As you grow in your career, you'll have a bunch of ambiguous requests come up and be expected to look at problems from all different angles, be able to choose the best course of action, and you'll have to be confident in your decisions, which are hopefully backed up by data. Analytical skills are even more important if you aren't necessarily looking for a salary job, but instead want to run your own business, because in that case, you are the ultimate decision maker. Now, you're probably like, Hisham, I get it. Analytical and critical thinking skills are super important, but how exactly do I build them? And the answer to that, like with anything else, is practice. The more you do it, the better you're going to become at it. The most common way for companies to test your critical thinking skills, especially in high-paying careers like consulting or business strategy, are with case interviews. In these interviews, you're given a hypothetical scenario that's causing a problem, and then you have to walk the interviewer through your thoughts and how exactly you would go about solving that problem. The best way to improve your critical thinking skills is obviously to have a job where you do it over and over again, learn from your mistakes, and then get better. But that's hard to replicate, so a second best thing is to just do a bunch of case interviews. There's a ton of case interview examples on Google and even some helpful YouTube videos on how to go about the case process. Even if you know you're never going to do a case interview, it's a super helpful thing to practice because it'll help you improve your decision-making skills. Another really helpful thing to do is to learn to actually break down and analyze data. Being able to take in a huge amount of information, break it down, and identify all of the important parts to help you figure out a plan is a huge part of decision making. In a lot of high-paying jobs these days, you'll be given millions upon millions of rows of data to analyze. So if you're someone who's just starting out, definitely learn how to use data analysis tools. At the very least, I think everyone should know how to use Microsoft Excel. Literally every single company I've worked for uses Excel to some extent to help analyze data, and it's super easy to pick up. Then there's more complex tools like SQL, Python, and R, but you don't necessarily need to learn them unless you're going into an actual analytics type role. Either way though, critical thinking and analytical skills are huge to excelling in your career. Another fact of reality is that in almost every single stage of your life, you need to sell yourself. I mean, think about it. Every single thing you do, from putting together the perfect college application, to interviewing, to making friends and even dating, is all about marketing yourself so people see the value in you and want to be around you. That's why marketing and selling is a super important skill to have, and I don't even mean in the traditional sense like being a salesman. Obviously, having sales skills can help you go really far in your career, and I've talked about how sales jobs are some of the highest paying in my other videos. I also think that everyone should try sales at some point in their life, just to get a solid foundation and build skills that are going to help you in other areas. I mean, my first real job was selling insurance, which taught me a whole lot and gave me skills I still use to this day. But beyond that, the better you are at marketing yourself and your skills, the more people will trust you and want to work with you, so the more successful you're going to be. Some of you might not like hearing this, but it's not the people who work the hardest or are the best employees who get rewarded with raises or promotions. Instead, it's those people who who are best at voicing what they do and make sure that their managers see their value. These people are constantly selling themselves, but how exactly do you do that? The most simple way I could put it is learn to hype yourself up. Be really introspective and think about what you bring to the table. Maybe it's technical skills, your charisma, the fact that you juggle. Whatever it is, there's something you do that other people value. You just have to discover it. Once you have that figured out, think about how to pitch that value. The best thing you could do is put together a story telling how you got your skills and what you want to do with them. A mistake I see a lot of young people make is not being able to sell themselves because they aren't confident in their skills since they think they don't have experience. But don't sell yourself short if you think you don't have the experience. Whether people say it or not, they're much more impressed by your potential than what you've done in the past. Before I forget to tell you, remember to subscribe, share this video with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you think it would be helpful for, and make sure you hit that like button. Now what I was saying is that the thing people really want to know is what you can do to help them. How can you help make their lives easier? Which is actually good because it means even if you don't have a ton of experience, as long as you know how to market yourself and highlight the right skills, you can get ahead. The perfect example is my friend Jay. I actually have an interview with him on this channel and you should watch it if you haven't already because there's a lot you can learn from it. He became wildly successful at a super young age because he's a master at relationship building and selling himself. He isn't afraid to walk up to a stranger on the sidewalk, spark up a conversation, and then pitch his business. He started off doing $10 deals at just 12 years old, and now at 18, he's doing deals for 6 figures, which just goes to show how valuable effectively marketing yourself truly is. But that's a 1 in a million example. For most of us, the ultimate test of marketing ourselves is how we build our resumes and our interview skills. For me, there's nothing like actually doing something to get better at it. So when I was looking for jobs, I would take every single interview I could possibly get, even if I wasn't interested in working at the company, just so I could practice my interview skills and learn from my mistakes. I was able to go through a bunch of interviews and figure out what worked best for me and what I should highlight about myself. By the time it came to interviewing for companies I really wanted to work at, I was more confident than ever before because I had already interviewed so much. So I think you all should do the same. As far as writing resumes, I see that as an art. You have to be able to cater your skills to the company you're applying to and then give enough detail without making it too cluttered or long, because otherwise people are not going to read it. Now, practicing through trial and error is not the best way to learn how to write a resume. It's actually something you can learn to do right the first time. You just need the right resources. And I have a ton of solid guides on incomeoveroutcome.com to help you do just that, so check them out if you want to. Now, you can be a great critical thinker who figure out how to sell themselves, but if you aren't also an excellent communicator, then those skills aren't going to take you far. Communication sounds like a super basic and easy skill, but in reality, it's more nuanced than you think, especially in a business setting. More often than not, communication comes down to how you're perceived and able to capture attention. You could be super smart and say all of the right things, but if you come off as nervous or uncertain, people aren't going to take you seriously. On the other hand, and you see this happen all the time, someone who confidently walks into a room and says things that aren't necessarily true, but says them with conviction and confidence, is less likely to be questioned than someone who comes off as nervous or can't properly communicate. Which is why communication is the most underrated skill when it comes to success or earning a lot of money. In high-paying careers like consulting, you have relatively young people in their 20s or 30s telling company executives what to do. So for these jobs, it's super important to hire someone who comes off as confident and competent in what they're saying. But beyond that, communication is tested in essentially every single interview. Interviewers not only pay attention to what you say, but how you say it. Are you engaging? Do you actively listen? Do you know when to keep your message concise versus when to go into more detail? All of those are key parts of communication. I also know companies who ask for professional writing samples to make sure that you can communicate effectively in writing. Some even give you presentations to test your public speaking skills. So there's no doubt that being a good communicator can go a long way. Now, if you're shy and get nervous talking to people, you might feel like there's no hope for you, and I get that, but in reality, it might not be as big of a barrier as you think. Most people are not born excellent public speakers. In fact, over 70% of CEOs consider themselves introverts. The difference is that people who are successful in their business or careers are willing to step out of their comfort zone to grow their public speaking skills. No one kills it the first time they give a presentation or lead a business meeting. I remember the first time I had to lead a meeting after graduating college, I was so nervous I nearly pissed my pants. But instead of steering away from those types of situations, go and take on opportunities that force you to speak. The more you do it, the better you'll become. Right in line with communication, and arguably the most important skill to success, is networking. Now, I absolutely hate that word because people think networking is just trying to get to know people so you can ask them to do something for you. A lot of people will start sliding into DMs on LinkedIn only when they need a job. And don't get me wrong, that's important because if you don't network, you'll be left in the dust. Over 85% of all jobs are fulfilled by someone who knows someone who already works at a company. But that's the wrong way to go about networking. Effective networking isn't just reaching out to people when you need something done for you. The essence is to connect with people who you don't necessarily need things from right now, but who you might be able to help and who you can reach out to in the future if you need something. All you have to do is be a friendly person who doesn't burn bridges and stays close to people who you work with. That'll take you far in your career, business, or whatever you have going on. The fact is that if you're looking for a job, it'll be way easier to find one if you have friends at other companies versus just cold messaging people on LinkedIn or applying online. That's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you found it helpful, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and check out incomeoveroutcome.com. I'll see you next time, but until then, peace.